then they're going to do a presentation on their great business. How did they end up from the humble beginnings of the Culinary Institute all the way to their great restaurant? And we see all these great goodies. So there you go.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Tara Lila.
So yeah, basically we started our business just as an idea in many long conversations at night after work of just, kind of what we wanted to do, what our dream was to do, and just really one thing at a time, starting out and saying, okay, this is what we're gonna start with. Let's make a plan. How we saw things. We had a really big, grand plan, and it doesn't always work out the way that you want it to. So we decided, let's put this into action, and we'll have like a 3-year plan. So, we'll take small steps, and then within 3 years, our hope was that we would be able to start our catering business. And then life just kind of threw different things at us, and in the same 6 months or so that we were having the conversation about the business and what we wanted to do and what we wanted it to be, I lost my job at SWAC here because the number of students was too low, and so I was the last one hired, and so I was the first one to go, and so it was like, okay, well, we had a 3-year plan, and then now...
Mind you, my wife, very organized. We had a 3-year plan on paper. Like, this is what we're gonna do here. This is our goal for here. Okay, well, very organized, this woman.
Yeah, well, I try to be, but just I think that when I write things down and I can see them and visualize them, that really helps me put plans into action. I have a checklist of things that I like to accomplish at least something on it. So I feel like I'm moving towards the goal. And, we talked about it, and I thought, well, I could work here, I could do this, I could do that. And we just decided that, we have this plan and we should just put it into action and see, how it goes. And, it was basically just
straight up just roll the dice.
Yeah. So we didn't have any money. We didn't have really anything except,
a dream.
Yeah, exactly.
A goal.
Yeah.
A
so
plan.
The first thing was to just figure out what we could do legally from our home. So that took a lot of research and development on, okay, what can we do from home legally? Because you can't really cook out of your home and sell it. And so I did a lot of research with that through the Department of Agriculture and everything, and found the cottage law on, being able to do baked goods out of your home and sell them as long as you stayed under a certain amount of money that you made. So the first step was then to get that all figured out, and then it was about trying to find somewhere we could sell all of this stuff. So, okay, we're gonna, bake bread, and he loves to make bread, so he was like, well, I can make bread, and
mind you, at this time, I had no ability to make bread. Like, again,
yeah, this is
heavy
true.
on the dream part. Not a lot on the ability part yet.
Right. Yeah. Reading lots of books, watching lots of YouTube and everything like that, and just practice making the bread. And so then we just started doing things out of our house that we could do. We did some canning and pickling and using vegetables from the farmer's market. And then we were like, well, this is where we could sell all of our stuff. So we started at the Winter Farmer's Market in the Coos History Museum.
Yeah.
And we made a proposal to them about letting us have a booth in there and what kind of things we were going to do. And they let us, join in down there, and we just started selling our stuff, small amounts of things, and kind of getting our name and the word out there, and just letting people know who we were and what we were planning on doing. And then it just kind of took off from there. Our next step was to of course, take the little bits of money that we got after paying for our product and packaging and all of that kind of stuff, and, buying one thing for the business with that money each time. And we would have a list of things, again, my list of, what was important and what we really needed first, and just kind of saving the money from each farmer's market and putting it to what we knew that we were going to need, like maybe more bread pans, so he could make more bread, or anything like that. And so we did that for a long while. And then we happened to fall upon the North Bend Senior Center. And the North Bend Senior Center had lost their cook, and they were looking for somebody to come in and cook. And so I went to them and I said, we would love to come and cook for you, but we also would like to use your kitchen to certify through the health department so that we could cater out of it. And so at first they didn't want to do that. They didn't think it was a great idea.
They just had a caterer come through there and didn't treat them properly. And so, yeah, they were a little skeptical. But, I mean, we had a pretty solid idea of what we wanted to be, how we wanted to do it. Like that's the one thing. We set a bar for ourselves, and we will not ever relinquish our integrity or our idea of how we want to do things. And we won them over.
Yeah, and we did a presentation for them with, what kind of food we would serve them. I did a proposal on how they would make money, how we would make money, how we could benefit each other. And we did a proposal for them, and they were like, okay, this sounds pretty good. So they were going to be able to, they had fallen into some hard financial times, and they were going to have to close their doors. And so, of course, we didn't want to see them do that. So we thought that we would be beneficial to each other to kind of help each other out. And so we went ahead and started this collaboration. We told them we would give them 1 year, and they would give us a year, we would give them a year, and just kind of see how things were going. And we even went in halves on paying for the health department license and everything like that. So we started cooking the senior meals there, and it's open to the public, so anybody could go and eat. So we were able to draw people in that we knew to come and eat there, which helped to bring more people in to get them more money and income to keep their doors open. We changed the foods that they were doing. So, we were doing a lot of really good meals for them, making everything from scratch. Nothing was coming from a can or a package or anything like that, which they were getting a lot of. And so they loved the food. Everything was home cooking, made from scratch type of thing, and they just absolutely loved it. So we started out slow. My husband was doing some contracting work as a
I'm still way more valuable as a contractor than I am as a cook.
Yes. So he did that for a while to support us while I worked at the senior center doing the meals for the seniors, and then I started to get caterings on the side. So a few different things here and there, just small little things, and just got to the point where I couldn't do it all by myself anymore. And so I was like, I think the catering is, really starting to become something that I just can't do it by myself. So we made the scary decision for him to leave his $30 an hour job to come and work for our business. And it was very terrifying, but I knew that it was time because I just couldn't do any more than what I was doing. So then when we both started working, it was like, wow, we can get so much more done. And then we could get more customers and more caterings and things like that. And he could do more bread, and we could do more farmers markets. And then it kind of just took off from there until we got so busy with the catering, we had to actually hire our first employee. And so on and so forth. So we were there at the senior center for the year that we told them we would be there, and then we just outgrew the space. We were paying an employee, 40 hours a week to prepare the meals for the seniors, and also had 2 other employees helping with the catering and everything. And so we knew that it was time to find our own space. I just sat down and did the numbers and was like, if we're paying this person 40 hours a week, we can take that money and, be able to pay rent. And if we were paying them to make food for us to sell, it would benefit us more than just having a free kitchen to work out of. So we started to look for a spot of our own.
I mean, we're going, you guys got to understand, and you guys obviously, you have some, I mean, you've all done stuff on your own. I mean, every conversation feels like you're jumping off a cliff. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we hire somebody? We can't afford not to hire somebody. Where are we going to get the money? Can we afford rent? Can we afford the food? I mean, every decision is a hefty decision. Is weight is like jumping into an abyss, and then we keep going.
We kept going, yeah. And we still keep going every day. We have 6 employees now and a cafe and a catering, and we have a lot of baked goods and bread and everything going out.
I'm getting a bald spot.
What's the location?
We're at 1989 Sherman Avenue in North Bend.
Which is kind of where.
So downtown North Bend, Virginia and Sherman there on the Highway 101 south side. Kind of, there's like a big pawn shop across the street, World
The
Pawn.
Oddfellows building. You know the Oddfellows building?
Right next to the zebra place.
Yes,
Yeah,
Painted
right,
Zebra,
yeah.
Pedal to the Metal Flower Shop, and then
Yeah.
us, and then the Stove Guy.
He got that. We looked at that spot, and then he got it, and we're like, well, there's no way a dispensary is going to go out of business, and we
Yeah.
really love that spot.
We had just happened to be catering for our friend Robin at Pedal to the Metal Flowers and saw the empty space, and we were like, wow, wouldn't that be amazing? And then we saw the pot
he
shop
moved
going
in.
in.
Good vibrations?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Positive vibration.
Positive vibrations. Yeah.
So then we thought for sure, well, there's our dream of this space. It was just beautiful. We loved it. And we were like, well, there goes that. But that was also in the very beginning of our
Yeah.
business. I think it was
Too early.
like 3 months in or something. And we were just like, there's no way we could do that. So it was just kind of like, let's just put this up here and remember it and think about it and hope that we could eventually get there one day, which is kind of a cool story because now we're actually there in that location. So we were
love being down there. So.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were in another, doing another catering for Robin, I think maybe like almost a year later. And I walked by and I saw that they were moving things out, and I said to Robin, like, what's happening? Are they leaving? She's like, oh yeah, they're moving out, and I just was like, so it's available. And this is at the time we had put in almost a year at the senior center, and we thought, or maybe we were there 6 months, but we thought, well, if we could get this location, it will take us some time to actually turn it into what we need it to be. So we that day called the owner of the building and talked to him and set up an appointment to go see the space. And we went to see the space and talked to them about the pricing and everything. And so then we went home and talked about it. And I just started crunching all the numbers of
That's one of the cliffs I was talking
yeah, of what we were paying this person to make the meals and what, all just everything, and seeing if it was something that I thought we could do. And, we felt like it was the next step for what we wanted. And so then we just kind of made things happen from there. We stayed at the senior center. We actually rented the space that we're in for 8 months.
Yeah,
8 months.
It was so essentially, you've probably been in there, obviously,
Yeah.
but it was a hall. It was just a large rectangle. So we had to build a kitchen out of it. And the nice thing is, after all the years of building stuff for people and then walking away from it, I finally got to build something for myself or ourself. We built it and I was able to have a vision and build it to that vision. And it was an incredible experience.
That's usually the contractor's dilemma. They do everything for everyone else, and the last person that gets it done.
Well, it's like the shoemaker's kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
and for the first time in my life, I had the ability, the material, and the vision to create something that we invite people into every day, and the positive feedback, every time, it doesn't get old. I don't care. Like, we love this place. It feels comfortable. I want people to we make food. We're doing it. We're a service. We do stuff to make people feel happy, healthy, welcome, warm, you know, and to have that reciprocated in those comments is it's affirming. Everything we go through is worth it because people appreciate it, you know.
It's a really beautiful space. Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Do you
it.
calculate how much profit each item will make you potentially?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we first started, we decided that we were going to have the catering business. I sat down and because I was a teacher at the culinary school, so I used to teach students how to start their own business from beginning to end, right? So this was part of my teaching for, I taught for 3 years. I worked there for 10 years, but I taught for 3 years and was able to tell them this is how you do it. This is step by step, one class at a time. And so then here I am, and now I'm like, well, I have to make it work because I have to have my students know that I gave them information that was real, that, that they can do this. This is, it's hard work and it takes a lot more than just knowing how to do it. But, so that was one of the first things that I did was I sat down and I created a menu and we talked about things that we wanted on the menu. And we started with a lunch menu. Basically, we were going to cater to local businesses for lunches, things like that, deliveries and stuff. So I sat down and made a lunch menu, which is still the lunch menu that we use at the cafe. We use it for the catering. We started it with the catering, and now we use it every day at the cafe, and people love it. Different bowls, salads, sandwiches, wraps, good healthy food, all made from scratch. And I sat out and costed out every single item. So I would take the taco salad and I would say, okay, the taco salad gets Doritos and ground beef and, every single item that's in there. But then it was about, knowing where you're going to purchase your food from. So I'm going to get the ground beef from a local family down in Gold Beach, and it's Wagyu beef. So it's going to be this amount of money. And I'm going to get the vegetables from this farmer, and I'm going to get, the Doritos from Cash and Carry or whatever. But you have to figure out where you're going to purchase them all from because every place is different. And then I was able to cost out each item and then figure out what to charge from there.
Everything
So,
that we sell has been costed out by my wife.
I'm kind of curious. A normal yardstick in industry is you need 3 to 5x gross markup
mhm.
to take care of everything. Does a restaurant business fit in that model too?
I think
Or
It's pretty similar.
You sell for $10, it can't cost you more than $3.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
about spot
Yeah.
on.
right, exactly.
Which is hard because we do, locally sourced
Mhm.
meats and vegetables. So it's like but like I said, we set a bar, we set a goal for ourselves, and we will not trade on that.
Right, and we have people, with our menu. I also our catering menus, and they'll say, well, this is a little too expensive for me. Do you think that you could not use the organic chicken and maybe use regular chicken or, something like that? And it's just not what we do. We do not want to serve food to people that we wouldn't eat ourselves, and we want to feel like,
And it costs us customers. I
Right.
mean, long story short, we have the people that we want to serve. We know who we want to serve,
One other generalized question, what percentage of people skip you?
knock on wood, we've never had anybody
Yeah, no.
do that.
But see, that's being a part of the community. Like we're here for the long haul. We're not snake oil salesmen. We're here. I've lived all up and down the West Coast. I'm finally home after 40 years. I'm finally home, and this is a community that I want to support, that I want to be a part of. I met her here. This is where we're going to raise our kid.
One thing I can see which would help you guys or most small businesses here, and Eric and I can work with you. We really need a large poster map where you are, your hours and the whole thing, so you can plaster it in a lot of places. And I think it would really help. increase your business.
Yeah, we have, we've been in our spot now for 1 year. We opened our doors February 11th of 2018 for the cafe. And so we've been open for a year now, and we have people come by all the time that say, I work right over here, and I've never, I didn't know that you were here.
We got big bright lights in our sign.
Yeah,
We're
so-
at the farmers markets, It's like, you know what, it's cool. You know?
But I
It'll
think that
come.
we didn't really do any advertising when we first opened up because I was like 6 months pregnant with our son, and we didn't want to advertise and say, hey, we're opening up, and run out of food or have too much food. So we just thought, you know what, the best thing to do is a soft opening.
Yeah.
Let's just open the doors and see what's
And
happening.
it was the best way to go.
We'll put it on our
grow.
Facebook and let a few people know, and then we'll just let them trickle in. And it was the best thing we could have
Yeah.
done. And to this point, we still haven't done any advertising.
No.
We do very well with our catering and the farmers market. So when we opened the cafe last summer, we took flyers down to the farmers market with us, and people who would always come and buy our bread and our pastries and our canned goods, we would let them know, hey, we opened up our cafe, and come and see us. Here's a menu. And so it really worked good, and we still haven't done advertising.
Super grassroots.
Yeah, but it's been good. I think now we're finally to the point where we could definitely use more customers in the cafe. There's days where there's only a few people, and then there's days where you can't get a seat. Even the windows in the seats in the bar and the
bars,
windows, and there's 4 people standing in line to pay. So it just kind of depends, but we're lucky we have the catering and the cafe, and they kind of go up and down, which is good for us. If the cafe is slow, the catering is good, and vice versa. So it kind of works out. And sometimes both are very busy, and we're ripping our hair out and working 16 hours a day and not sure how we're going to make it to the next day, but we always do.
But you guys outlined a very important thing, is you maintain your standards. And
Yeah.
People with restaurants, they maybe they start with enthusiasm and they kind of like dip.
Right.
And then-
It won't
High
happen.
quality, and
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The
Well,
one thing
I think.
also noticed, you can increase the price,
Mhm.
but you can't decrease the
Right.
quality.
And that was part of it. That was why I sat down. For 3 months, it took me to make those menus, and that was because I had this catering menu, this one. But I wanted to make sure that I knew what it was going to cost me and what it was going to cost my customers, so that we didn't have to do that. Because I think restaurants, they get to the point where, okay, I either need to raise my price or I need to lower my standard
Yeah.
in order to keep the price the same. And that's what happens a lot of times, is they find that they weren't charging enough for the items in the first place. And so then they're like, okay, well, instead of the organic chicken, we'll just get this, we'll do this, we'll slide here, we'll slide there. And then that's where the standards fall.
But as anybody in business knows, the minute.
And then the cook gets mad and walks out.
Well, yeah. But anytime you trade on your integrity, anytime you trade on your name or your quality, you're done.
Mhm.
You might as well you're done.
I can vouch for that, because we belong to like a group of vegans,
Mhm.
and you guys are recommended. The word of mouth travels around. In fact,
Yeah.
Kate that winning.
Oh, wonderful.
Sandwiches.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, you've got a good word of mouth that's got around.
Thank
But if
you.
your quality went down,
Yeah.
that word of mouth would go around.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And what is the most important thing?
Mhm.
Having people talk about
That's
you're
right.
not the advertising, it's the
Yeah.
word of mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
And
you
that's why
can't
we don't
trade on
pay
it.
for advertising, is because we know that our customers will come back. And I mean, yeah, we make mistakes, and we're only human, and we have, people working for us that don't have the same standards that we do, but that's our job to make sure that we enforce into them that this is the standard,
how it
and
is.
this is how it is. And sometimes things go out where someone will let it slide, and then we're always trying to make it right.
That's a conversation in the back that's about to happen.
Exactly. So, but that is one thing, is that's our number one thing with our business, is integrity. And that goes for not outrageously charging somebody for this. Well, okay, this person's going to have a wedding, and so I'm going to just charge them this outrageous price. We have set prices. We have menus. We have set prices. And a lot of other places, they don't do that. They just say, oh, I'll see who comes in, and then I'll charge them whatever I think I can charge them. And, to us, that's not right. It's about the integrity of having, not charging somebody an arm and a leg just because you can. It needs to be beneficial for us and beneficial for them. And so that's important to us too. But I think he's right. Integrity is our main.
And people, if they want quality, people I know that they want the quality, they don't mind paying for the quality.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They hate paying for the quality and getting the.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Getting the grizzle.
Getting
Right.
the grizzle.
Yeah.
You know when you got, when you're not getting
Yeah.
a deal on it.
Right.
Absolutely.
As far as I know, people don't mind paying the, Coos
Yeah.
Bay is lucky. Coos Bay and
Right.
North Bend is lucky. We got some great.
It's a beautiful place to live.
Local
Yeah,
food.
We're
not
in
a food
paradise.
desert either, it's not like
Yeah.
it's just fast food.
Yeah.
Right.
We've got a big, good selection.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it's getting better.
It
Yeah.
is.
Food culture has definitely changed over the last. few
Without
years.
question.
Mhm.
And when I started my Coos Living site, I didn't know that I would be getting as much into the whole foodie scene.
Mhm.
What happens, started to talk to people about what they wanted to hear about, what was important. That became a
But what
really
is a
big
foodie
topic.
scene? It's the quality. It's a quality of life.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is our area, what we have is way too much mediocre diner,
Right.
off the Cisco truck
Mhm.
crap.
Yeah.
It needs to go away.
Yep.
Frankly, it just does, because it doesn't give our area's name, reputation from
Yeah.
a tourist perspective.
Right. And we have a lot of tourists. I mean, we opened our doors to the cafe, and the summertime was just booming with people from all over the
Germany,
world.
Denmark, Spain, England.
Yeah, just everywhere.
27,000 cars a day on 101, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Do you guys have like a sign, like parking in the back or something? Because that's the one thing my friend noticed about that is people would drive by and not,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. No, that is a valid point.
Because there is a great parking.
Great
there,
parking
but,
lot.
like, if you don't really know
Yeah.
or paying attention.
So we've talked to the owner of the building about, it's a big, beautiful blank space there, and so about maybe putting like a parking sign to let people know, like, hey, around the corner you can parking.
The line
Yeah.
down below.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lot down below.
Yeah.
So just, as you're coming down that 101, if we just had like a big sign that was like parking around the building or something. And then with our business names also, so people would know, hey, there's a cafe here, stuff like that. So, I mean, he's all for it. It's just we all have to come up with the money, and we're all small business owners. And so we're like, well,
What are your?
one day we'll get a sign up there. Well, we were just thinking like having somebody paint something, even not even
Well,
like a
The whole big side of the building. It's a
Yeah.
huge billboard. Yeah.
huge
I mean,
billboard. Yeah.
So why not utilize that space? It's
Right.
blank. It's a canvas.
Well, you figure out how many artists there are in town.
No,
You
totally.
got the one who did the boat on the side of the
Yeah.
building for North Bend.
Yep.
And of course, you got the pre-front Fontaine, artist.
Yeah, that guy and
kind of thing.
the
But,
itty bitty.
You
Well,
need
before
the art.
before the owner had to get a divorce, because that's the reason why he had to sell the business, because the owner was getting a divorce and had
Oh.
to sell, and the bank was like, whoa, you got a cannabis business here?
Mm.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what happened with that.
Yeah. And so we were just lucky enough to be able to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was open to even that, which surprised me, but.
That is
Yeah.
surprising.
That
He
is
seems a pretty
surprising.
conservative dude.
No kidding. Yeah, but he's been really good to us. He's been very good to us and helping us, especially when we first got in there. We told him, hey, we're going to have to renovate this place. I mean, my husband, even with a ladder, redid all of the walls in there, the plaster, and it took him
Scriptural, yeah.
a long time. And so, he worked with us on the rent and everything like that, because we told him, well, it'll take 3 months, well, it took more like 8, but, my
It works
husband's
slow.
a perfectionist. Well, we were also catering full time, so we would just, cater and work all day long, and then after 12 hours, go to the restaurant and try to do things on a day that we didn't have any catering.
Oof.
So it took us a long
I'm
time.
glad those days are behind us.
Yeah.
I think one thing, being on a one-way street,
Mhm.
That's the thing, is just telling people to know that they make a left
Yeah.
hand turn at the light.
Right.
In
And
order to
then
get
there's
in
the
the parking.
second turn and another
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's one of the problems
Yeah.
with one-way streets. you know.
I think that's a good call though.
What's the North Bend, requirements for sandwich board up front? Is that allowed?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't-
State says no, but everybody does.
Yeah, everybody
we
on
have-
our
we have
block
a
has
sandwich
one.
board out front right now.
Wait,
They
the
don't
Wolf
know.
Lot has one though. but that's-
Somebody in that got a sandwich board with, parking with the arrow, parking
Oh,
around.
that's a good
Haven't
idea.
solved
Yeah.
that, but that's possible.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna call the city and see because we were thinking of on the going north side on the North 101 is there's that big parking lot right there and it's on that side. So I thought, well, if we had our logo that said parking right here, then people that are going north, even though they can't see our building, they can see
That's
that,
a good
hey, we're
idea,
here
too, yeah.
and park here. So
You catch them from the north
Yeah.
side.
catch them from the north
Yeah.
side, exactly. They can park in there and then find us. But I was gonna call them and see if that was something that we could do because it is the city parking lot.
It's a city parking lot, but it's a state highway.
Right.
So one of the restrictions is, because I know we were trying to put up signs for the Charleston Green Life Center.
Mhm.
And ever since the, ODOT had changed the signs, you see now it has highway, whatever, 546 or whatever it is. Well, once that happened, then they were able to put signs up
Mm.
showing where things were. So-
Yeah.
So it's the state you might have to want to have.
Yeah.
You have entrance from the back into the building, or you have to go all the way around?
Yeah, no entrance, just front door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just front
it's
door.
one way in, one way out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to see, I drive by that way every day and I haven't seen.
Well, we have lights. I mean, we put lights out
Pretty close.
on the front, and it's bright. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a question. How many local suppliers do you have here? That you said the meats and some other things? the
Oh
vegetables?
man, I think one of the things that we don't really get that's not like Oregon local. That's kind of what we try to focus on is Oregon local foods. But we do get like our organic chicken from Northern
Yeah.
California, but it's the best organic chicken that you can get, you know. And so. But we have a lot of different places that give us that we get our food from. The farmers market, we get the Glen Leahy Farms gives us a lot of produce during the summertime. Not during the wintertime because they can't. We have so much going out that they really can't sustain us. But
Nelson Family Farms. We'll buy pigs from Nelson Family Farms.
mhm.
The Gold Beach.
Coos Bay local. Yeah.
The Wagyu. The
Pacific
beef is
Rogue.
So good.
Pacific Rogue Wagyu out of Gold Beach.
So good. So good.
And then Day Ship Supply is our number one supplier, but they go above and beyond getting stuff for us that is Oregon local. They will get anything that we need. And if we say, hey, this is a product that we want, this is something that we really want to use, and they will have it in stock for us. They'll get it, they'll keep it in stock for us. And so that's really nice for us, is like we can still get what we want and they can deliver it to us. They have no problems with that as long as they know that we're going to continue to order that product. They'll keep it in their warehouse and, buy big amounts of it if we need it. So that's really nice. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
I have more like questions about when you're starting the restaurant / catering. What are some of the certifications that you would need?
We did the whole gamut, dude. We had to do the whole gamut.
Yeah,
health
well, he's saying
department.
like, what does that mean?
Yeah, like.
So and that was the thing with the cottage law when we first started, was just trying to figure out, because we knew and had heard that people had, were catering out of their houses, and we're like, now how does that work? And so we would call and they would say, no, that's illegal. You can't do that. And so it was just about researching and finding online mostly, and then calling people and figuring everything out of what exactly we needed. And then once we had the senior center, we knew we were going to be able to certify that kitchen. It was just, how do you go about that?
So is that still certified, and did it get certified because you guys worked
Yeah,
it out?
we spent a good week deep cleaning it before we could actually even get in there. And so we spent a long time cleaning it up. And then we had the health department come in and tell us exactly, what we were going to need to do. So that was a conversation that we had with them, and they kind of let us know the steps of what we needed to do, and they were really good about that. Now the license goes with the caterer, so it was our license for that kitchen. Now when we moved our business, that license went with us, but we had to get a new license for our business. For our location. So it's basically for the caterer and the location specifically.
So if there was an entity that was created
Yeah, go ahead.
for that location,
So when we left there, I had to get the kitchen certified for the senior center itself.
okay, because Chris and I have been talking a lot about all these things. Two ideas that we've had would be certified kitchen, which they're working on downstairs as far as the incubator program. One of the processes with that is for childcare incubator center, but also community kitchen. So people can come in and create mass produces of sauce or whatever, and then, for retail.
In my purse downstairs. Yeah, so basically, who has a good one for that is in Bandon. Bandon has one of those certified kitchens. The barn, right? I think the Bandon barn or the Bandon Community Center, actually, over by the park there. And they have like the library, and then there's a community center there. So our friends, the Spangelmeyers that have the taco truck, so they rent time in that kitchen for the farmers market. So they go in, they prep all of the stuff that they need for the farmers market. They pay, I'm not exactly sure what it is.
It's $10 an hour. I know Norris, the guy that's kind of in charge of the thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I think like he said, maybe $10 an hour they pay. But they go in and they do all of their prep, and it's a certified kitchen. So then they can go to the farmer's market and sell their product. Now, when they go to the farmer's market, you still have to have a license from the health department. So even though we could cater anywhere in Oregon, we have to have another license to be at the farmer's market. So it's just all about money. And everybody wanting a piece of it, and that's one thing that we've noticed when being a restaurant owner or a business owner, any business, is that everybody wants something, and it's like, oh, you get a bill for this, and it's like, I didn't even know I had to have that, like all of these different things. So it was a real learning process about starting a restaurant, starting a business like this. And I would, tell my students, this is, kind of what you need to do and lay it out for them, but let them know you have to, check with your health department and see what their requirements are, because it may be different per county and state and all of these different things. And for us, when we started, we decided we were going to have this space in downtown North Bend. The first thing I did was call Rick Hallmark, and I said, okay, so I found a location, and it's absolutely blank, empty space. So I need you to help me and tell me exactly what I need to do to make this a restaurant. So there was nothing in there. Now my husband and I had been hoarding away pieces of equipment that we had been buying and saving for. So after one catering, we would get money and save it and buy this, and then get more money from this catering and buy this. And so we had a lot of things from Craigslist, places that went out of business, and we would just get piece by piece, so our garage was just stuffed full of everything.
Yeah, the other restaurants didn't do so well, right?
Yeah, well, we got a lot of equipment from the old Pizza Coop, so downtown Coos Bay, and Megan, she turned it into the hair company. She moved her business to that, so she was gutting the whole thing, and we were...
That stuff was still left in that building?
Everything. I mean... They literally walked away from the place when Megan and her husband went in to go and take it over. The walk-in had food in it, and it had been sitting for years. Yes, it was very bad.
It was well aged.
Yeah, right. So we were very fortunate that we went in there and got a bunch of equipment that we needed. We got our hood system. We got it came with the fire suppression and everything in it. So we got that. We got a manual a dishwasher. We got some prep tables. We got some speed racks with a bunch of sheet pans. And I mean, she was literally giving it away at prices that it was just like, are you sure? I feel guilty about this. And she's like, no, I just need it gone. So, and then
Fireside sale, yeah.
yeah, and so then she would call me, well, I have this, and I'd say, okay, yeah, I'll come and take it. So there was a lot of things that we were able to get from that, and just, different pieces here and there. And so then when I contacted Rick at the health department, he came down and walked through the space with us, and we told him kind of what our idea was, and he said, okay, minimum, you're going to need 2 hand washing sinks, you're going to need a prep sink, you're going to need a 3-compartment sink for your dishes and this and that, so that way we knew, okay, we need to have all of this stuff. So what pieces do we have? What ones are we going to have to purchase? How are we going to lay this out? Luckily, my husband's a contractor, so we had many meetings sitting in different restaurants, on vacation at Christmas time in Sun River, sitting at the Sun River Brewery, drinking beer and sketching out what we were going to do. And, even here locally, sitting at, different places and just talking about it and getting everything written down on paper about this space that we now had. But it was really important for us to work with the health department, because a lot of people, they'll just find a space and they'll put all of their stuff in there where they want it to go and how they want it to be. And then the health department comes in and says, no, you need this and this and this and this. So I didn't want there to be any surprises, especially because I'm in charge of the money. So it was a good thing that I did, because there was a few things that, I didn't know we were going to have. And so we could plan and save for those things. Also why it took us 8 months to open. But, now that we're open, we've been in business for a year and we're already out of space.
You think that's a common amount of time? Like I heard like 6 months around there is usually pretty standard for opening a restaurant.
I think so, definitely. I mean, for us, it was the space was completely empty, so we had a lot of work to do. Part of the problem was a plumber and an electrician, and getting people to get work done. It's like, hey, we have money, we just need you to do it, and that was hard. So yeah, I think 6 months minimum you should think about it. And for us, it was like we thought, okay, well, 3 months maybe.
Yeah.
And we paid rent for 8 months on a building that we weren't even in.
Oh.
So we worked about 16 hours a day or more trying to make enough money to pay for that and everything that we were still doing. So by the time we got into the space, it was like, oh, okay, we can breathe a little. So
long story short, it wasn't easy.
It's not easy still. Every day is hard. Right now, January, February were really busy for us, and we thought for sure we were going to have some downtime to work on projects and do some things that we really wanted to do and things like that. We were low on staff, so we thought, oh, this is going to be great. But it was we thought it was the middle of summer. It was so busy with the catering and with the cafe. So we were just like, okay, well, this isn't going how we planned. But now this last week has been deader than a doornail. So it's like, you just never know with the restaurant
There's
business.
no
But
logic to it.
yeah,
So have you had busy Marches then?
this is our
This is our
first
first
year.
year.
Oh, it's the first year.
Yeah, we're not really sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Question.
yeah.
I'm thinking of the 4 regulatories that, I don't know if they cause your problem or not.
Mhm.
There's FOG, fatty oils and grease.
Mhm.
There's ADA. There's MSDSs.
Mhm.
And then there's nutrition values on the menu.
So I can't speak to the nutrition, but the ADA being in construction, I knew already what needed to happen, so I built that into the drawing that I did. The greases, we have our hood vent. We don't fry. We don't do fried foods. So we eliminated a lot of airborne grease that way. And the third one?
MSDS?
Yeah, don't have an MSDS book, but we have all we have is like detergents. So we're not doing lacquer thinners. We're not doing
MSDS, is it? We would have MSDS on the hand soap.
You at least have that paperwork like in a file.
we do have a file, but an MSDS book, I don't.
Yeah.
It's actually the SDS now. MSDS no longer exists.
Oh, okay.
Because it's part of the global harmonization program.
Oh,
And that occurred in the last 3 years.
okay, yeah.
So what it means is now, the US was way behind Europe and everything else.
No, of course, yeah.
Sheets were, of course, and so we had to catch up, and so what happened was they had to finally go into the global harmonization. So that way there, if you went to France, you would see the same data sheet as you would here in the US, that kind of thing. So,
I think that's smart, yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I just published a book on the safety things, on one of the things that popped up. It turned out that actually we have a gentleman here who is a safety officer who does the training for the SDS programs and things like that, and it's here locally. And he goes to various companies and he looks at for hazardous things for employees and things like that, and that's what he does. So he did that down in Hardin, and they had to upgrade a lot of things that they did not have, electrical cords, that kind of, the usual stuff,
Yeah, we had the fire department come in, and they checked for things like that, of things like the electrical cords and making sure there wasn't too many things plugged in at one space and stuff like that. So they came in and did that for us.
But the fire department handles that.
Right.
Mhm.
OSHA is the other part.
Right. Yeah.
OSHA is the one, doesn't care what the local fire department does.
Yeah.
Because they're
Right.
volunteer and they're just like, okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like that, but it's
Fire
OSHA,
department
somebody,
can find-
somebody has a problem.
I won't
Yeah.
let him anywhere. I had a sack of cement, and they fined me for hazardous material.
Right.
sitting
For
in
a
my shop.
sack of
Yeah,
cement.
and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
all buddy with him.
Oh,
At
yeah.
that point, $300. I said, you guys aren't coming in.
Wow.
Well, why not? Because you charge.
Yeah, that seems logical at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah, they could
no
have said,
kidding.
get rid of that.
Yeah.
But no, it's like 300, so don't let them in next time. You don't have to.
Jeez.
Don't let
Well, I
'em
mean, the
in.
thing is, we invited all the people in, but while we were designing, we had the health department come in,
Yeah.
and I showed them my drawing. Oh, did you? Okay, yeah.
But just don't let them in again.
Yeah.
On the fog, watch what's going on locally, because Hughes Bay is starting to come down on all the food servers for the oils and greases going into the sewer system,
Mhm.
because their sewage treatment plant keeps getting plugged up over and over and over again. North Bend's probably got the same problem, we'll follow what Hughes Bay does.
Yeah,
We have
we don't really
grease
do
trap.
much oil. Yeah, we do have a grease trap, but I won't. If we have anything with oil, like when we cook our bacon, I let it solidify. I put it in the receptacle and put it in the garbage. I won't flush anything. I don't want to mess my pipes up. I mean, I'm thinking maybe a little bit more selfishly, but there's no way I want to have that stuff go down my own drains
Right.
because I don't want to be the guy
Do you
going
ever
down there.
cook with bacon grease?
Absolutely. I make my roux with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our clam chowder,
Oh, really?
our mac and cheese. I make our roux.
Anything that we use with the
Yeah.
roux, we
But
save
I
it.
cure and smoke my own
Oh, man.
bacon, so it'll sit on the salt for 8-9 days. It'll air dry for 3 days. I'll smoke it for 8 hours. I mean, I don't mess about.
It's a whole process.
It's a whole process.
But it saves us $1 a pound on the bacon too. So, and it's better because we make it ourselves. Plus, we don't use any of the nitrates or nitrites or anything
It's
like
all
that.
natural,
So it's
celery
all,
salt.
Without the guilt, right?
that's
Right,
right.
exactly.
Integrity with food. That's our thing.
So you just salt cure it? That's.
Mhm.
I salt cure, yeah. Celery
Yeah.
salt has natural
Yeah.
nitrates, so
Mhm.
people don't want to have the nitrates. So I use celery salt, and a little bit, not a lot, but yeah, brown sugar and salt, and some smoke.
There's one thing that you guys are doing, which is kind of out of the box for local, and that's the meals to go.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, yeah. Meals to go. So we're a catering company that now has a cafe. When we opened the cafe, originally it was the plan to be kind of grab and go for the community, and just based off of our catering and what we were catering, we would have a deli case, which we got for $300 from the Glasgow market. You know, they were the first place to sell our goods. And so they had all kinds of stuff. We purchased a few things from them too, but we were going to do this grab and go idea, and then all of a sudden it turned into a full-blown restaurant. People wanted to sit down and eat their food there, then they wanted it hot and all this stuff, and so then it was like, oh my gosh, now, you know, slowly it became an actual cafe.
Our customers didn't appreciate or respect our decision to be a grab and go.
Yeah.
They said, no, we're going to sit here and you're going to make it for us. Hey, okay.
So we gave the people what they wanted. But part of that grab and go is items that are ready for families, for busy people. You know, you work, and a lot of these things going on right now, very popular is the box meals that you get in the mail. Where essentially they just do the meal planning for you and the grocery shopping, and then they send it to you. You still have to prep it, you still have to cook it, and then you still have to clean up your kitchen afterwards. So we came... So because we're caterers, we took all of that out of the equation for people. So we do family meals, and we have families sign up we were doing an 8-week spread. Now we're just going to start with 4 weeks, so it's less of a commitment for people. 4 weeks, and every week you come and you pick up 3 meals, and then the next week is 3 different meals. So for instance, this week we had Swiss steaks. We got a huge piece of beef round in, and we made Swiss steaks out of it. We did mashed potatoes with it and broccoli. And then the next meal was a chicken bacon ranch pasta. The other one was, what's the third one?
I made it. I forget. I don't remember.
Tater tot casserole.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Was it tater tot casserole?
Yeah, it was tater tot.
Okay, tater tot casserole. So those were the 3 meals that the families came and picked up. So right now we have 14 families. When we first started this, we had like 2 or 3 families, and it was not cost efficient at all for us. It was great for them because we wanted to keep the price low, but we knew we needed more people to build. So again, that word of mouth, oh my goodness, I picked up these 3 meals from Wildflower Catering. I don't have to cook 3 days a week. My family loves it. It's all made from scratch. It's, you know, organic, all this stuff. And now we have 14 families. Now it's cost efficient for us. So, you know, we're able to make a profit, and everybody gets good meals. So for a family of 2, a 2-person meal, $53 a week. For 3 meals.
So a price point of what?
A price point of like $8.50 per person per meal.
So when we go to the Safeway, we spend $200 on crap that's not going to last 3 days.
Right.
So these people go home with servings, generous portions, at $7.50, $8 a price point a serving, and it's already all you do is warm it up.
All you have to do is
you
warm
put it in
it
the
up.
oven, you take a shower. By the time
It's
you're done,
real food. It's
Yeah.
not out of a box.
It's organic chicken. It's veg. It's
Homemade
pasta.
bacon. It's,
Yeah.
you know, roux made from scratch and sauces made from scratch. And again, just integrity with food. That's really our thing. And we knew that if we kept people interested in the family meals, that it would grow to the point that it is now. And the more people we have signed up, the more profit we're able to make, which is essentially what we need and want. But the price point for a family is incredible. You can't go to the store for $53 and get something to make for 3 meals for 2 people.
You're talking the equivalent price of a drive-through, essentially, for quality food.
For homemade meals. We do bread to go with it sometimes too. So you get, you know, last week we did a beef stew. We got a big thing of the beef again, and we made a bunch of beef stew, and John made a bunch of bread. So you got beef stew and bread, and you know, every week the menu's different. And
try to keep it seasonal too, you know,
Right.
like what makes sense.
Food allergies and stuff like that.
we don't
Like,
do
you
any
guys
of that.
Yeah, it's a set. That's the thing we have to do, a set. And we have really loyal vegan customers that we would love to cater to, but it's got, you know, it has to be efficient.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and so that was one of the things with the sign up is, you know, these are the family meals. This is what is this week. For the whole 8 weeks, you know what you're going to get. so you can sign up or not sign up. And we do have a lot of people that ask, hey, can we get, I'm gluten-free, I'm dairy-free, this kind of stuff. And we just say at this time, we don't have any menus like that for the family meals, but we have a lot of options in our cafe for stuff like that. And, maybe eventually if we had more people that were interested in that kind of thing, we could. But until, right now we've got 14 families and it's perfect for what we do. And it's always gaining more. So we only do it we don't do it during the summer basically because everybody's busy, everyone's traveling, but we do have grab and go meals available in the cafe, in the deli case for them during the summertime too. But we don't do the, pick up 3 during the week because we're too busy during the summer and everyone's traveling. So, but the family meals have been really cool, and it's basically you just heat and serve. You could scoop it out and put it in the microwave if you want. We have some families that really love it for their children because they get a 4-person meal and the kids can scoop out what they want after school, put it in the microwave. The parents can come home, put it in the oven for them, and they get to have their kids try stuff. And if they don't like it, they didn't spend all of the time making it and cleaning the kitchen up and all of that kind of stuff. So they don't have to worry about it. And the parents still have meals. So it works out really good for everybody at this point. Now, in the beginning, not so much for us, but we've made a go of it.
But now it's nice to have some money at least to go to some.
How big do you plan on getting? When you say,
I want to rule the world.
No.
Wildflower all over the world. I want to be in India now.
No. We, we've talked about this actually. Is we talk about things like this, and we always say we want to be Joe Benetti. We want to be in business for 25 years and have a loyal clientele that comes and sees us and eats at our restaurant. We don't want to be the mayor or anything like that, but we want to have a restaurant that people can come to.
And Joe has been really good. He helped us out from the very beginning. He saw how we were, how we worked, and he brought us in on catering.
Yeah, we helped him a few times with caterings and stuff, and so that was really good. And any questions we had, he would help us answer, and if we needed anything, he would help us. And so that was really good. But I think we're already at the point where we need to expand. So we just recently rented the downstairs basement of the place that we're at. So we're already looking to move John's bakery downstairs and have our storage and his bakery down there so that the top has more room for the cafe and the catering. So we need more refrigeration. We're already outgrowing our space, but.
I just had a question, because some of these items look really good. Have you thought about maybe starting to sell, or at least trying to get them in some store or things like that for more?
You lose control that way, though, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, you lose a little bit of, I don't know, I mean, I'm a bit of a control freak. I know my wife is. Like I said, we have our integrity, It's we want to be Joe Benetti. We want to have a loyal following. We want to do right by our community.
We've had that. What was that place in Coos Bay that wanted us to make pies for them?
Oh yeah, it was Fran's.
Fran's Bakery wanted us to make pies for them, and we were like, what? But they only wanted to do a small amount, and for us, we needed to have a larger quantity in order to make the money at wholesale, and we were just like, we couldn't do it. It didn't make sense for us. It'd be great to have our name in Fran's, but at the same time, we needed a higher volume in order to make money, so it didn't work out. But we have cowboy candy, and that's going to be our item that eventually you'll see for sale in stores and Costco's everywhere.
Costco's, yeah.
I don't know. But we candy, so being at the farmer's market, the Leahy Farms. We were canning and pickling all of the vegetables that we could find that they had, and people loved it. And the jalapenos was one of them, and so we got a bunch of them, and John made cowboy candy, and it's essentially just candied jalapenos, but he's tweaked the recipe so many times that now it's, you know, it's perfect. And we put it on almost everything at the cafe. All of our bowls are taco salad and a couple of our different bowls, and people love it. And used to buy it by the jar, and then the health department came in and said, now wait a minute, you're going to have to pay us more money for this in order to do this. And so
Licensing.
more licensing and everything like that. So we're gonna, sorry you guys, it's past his bedtime. We're going to be working on that, but eventually, you know, it's like, do we have time for it right now? No, we're just passing
So you guys are still doing the pretzels for Seven Devils, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, John is still doing those every week.
No, but that's a great name for like a snack item, cowboy candy, I like it.
It's people love it. I actually met a guy. I was actually in Seven Devils doing a pretzel delivery, and Carmen and Annie let me get a shifty. And I was at the bar, and some dude's like, "Hey, you're Wildflower. You make the cowboy candy." And he sat down and ate an entire jar of jalapenos and garlic. And he's like, "Yeah, I ate it." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, bud. You know, that's terrible." He's like, "I loved it." So yeah, no, it's.
So that's going to be one thing that, you know, we hope to eventually get bigger and everything. But I think, you know, we love what we do now, and we just want to be and have a successful restaurant and catering company, and
Just be a part of it, part of the community.
yeah.
Long and the short, just be an active, contributing member of the community, and make good food and bread.
And just keep people coming back.
Well,
That's it.
You guys come by. I mean, check it out. That'd be awesome. I'm not good at talking, so I was a little apprehensive about all this, but this has been really good.
What are your hours, by the way, from when to when?
8 to 3, Monday through Friday, like a bank
Yeah.
with a lot less money.
Right, definitely.
So what's your like signature dish? Like, do you have one or like?
Yeah, we do actually. Our Yum Bowl, a
Yeah,
yummy bowl.
Yeah, we do a yummy bowl, kind of a play off of the Yum Cafe in Eugene. They
Yeah.
have one that when we made the menu, I did a lot of my favorite things growing up, and so we have a haystack. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of a haystack, but it's basically like an old Frito pie. You put Frito chips down on the bottom, you get beans on there, some cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion, olives. We top it with sour cream, taco sauce, cowboy candy,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. It was just something that we always had. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something that we always had. My mom always made for maybe, you know, like the day after church or something like that. Taco salad, same thing. She always used the Doritos and used like a ground beef. And so we do those kind of things. And the Yum Bowl was just something that I really liked, and we topped it with greens, and we make our own sauce for it and everything. And that is our number one selling bowl, is the Yummy Bowl. And people will order it with chicken on top, with tri-tip on top, because naturally it's a vegetarian item.
Yeah.
We have like, I think 4 or 5 good vegetarian items. We also can make them vegan. All of our bowls, like we have a curry bowl, a teriyaki bowl, and a fajita bowl. And you can get it with tofu, and they would be vegan, or you could get it with tri-tip, which he smokes his own tri-tip. And then we use the organic chicken as an option, or the Wagyu beef.
But we go everywhere. I mean, we had some leftover meatloaf that we did for a family meal, and one of our workers are like, "Well, why don't we make a meatloaf panini?" I'm like, "That sounds terrible. Like, who's
Well,
gonna
he
eat?"
doesn't like meatloaf to begin with, so he doesn't.
I was raised poor, so I had
Well,
plenty.
It says that do you do cooking classes?
We
do.
haven't. We have done some, yes.
Yeah.
But we haven't had any in the cafe yet, just because we've been so busy.
Yeah.
Plus, we had a baby and everything, you know, this guy. And so we haven't really done many since then. But we would eventually like to also do that. We would like to. We just got our beer and wine license, so not a lot of people drink beer and wine during lunchtime, but we would like to open on Thursday and Friday nights for wine and tapas and do small plates and stuff like that. But
Warm,
the
inviting
hardest
things,
part
yeah.
about this whole business thing is, I guess I can get back on camera for you if you want. The hardest thing about the whole business is the employees. That's the number one thing that we have a problem with is the employees. So we have big dreams and we want to do big things, but we need good workers, and that's the hardest part. I mean, I was in the military, and so I have a different work ethic than a lot of people my age. So it's difficult for me, but that's just the hardest part that we find now is the managing of the employees, and I'm sick, I gotta go home, and I can't come into work today because I have this or that, or
Hey Scott, you never had that problem though, right?
Employees are the hardest.
Yeah,
It is-
it's
it
the
is
worst
at
part of
some
owning a
Point,
business.
Probably hiring a manager to manage the people. I got to where it was 14 people. I thought I was a good boss, but after 14 employees, and that's kind of my number anymore. If I got over 10, I'm hiring a manager because it's a
Are you
full-time
looking-
job.
It is.
It is
That
a
is
full-time
a
job.
full-time job right there.
10 people
Are you
coming
looking
in.
at equipment to minimize labor, in other words, so the amount of labor, say, chopping food as an example, is not there, a chopping machine might,
No,
That's not how we
because,
do it, yeah.
we're just
We're hands-on.
yeah.
I mean,
And we
traditional.
find that, some of these products and stuff that you can get, we can do it faster because we've been doing it for so long, But, right now we're looking at equipment to help us expand our business so we could make more stuff. So, for example, if you come into our cafe and you'll see we have one reach-in refrigerator, and that's it for refrigeration. We have a deli sandwich station too, but that's it. And so we're looking to buy a walk-in refrigerator. So right now we worked on a business proposal and are working with a bank to try to give us money, but we've only been in business for 2 years. And so, the profits aren't great in the first 2 years. So, it's just, how do you move from one step to the next? We know that this is what we need to do next, but how do we get there, kind of thing. So
Yet another cliff to jump off of.
that's what we do. We just keep jumping off cliffs in faith that it's all going to work out. And that's all that we can do. It's a gamble every single day. And
the fast food, restaurants, more and more automating everything.
Yeah.
To take the work,
Yeah.
everyone we talk to, no matter what, where do we get good workers?
Yeah.
Where do we get workers that'll,
I know.
pass a drug
Yeah.
test and a few other things
Right.
like that. So your situation is not unique.
Yeah.
And the best approach, I think, is to automate as much as you possibly can and simplify it so you can take someone and.
But there's good. I mean, we have good employees. Like, we've been fortunate. We have
Yeah.
people that genuinely care about what they do and how they do it. And I mean, yeah, there are challenges with employees, but we've been pretty fortunate with the people that we have.
Yeah.
Have you hired anybody from community college?
Well, a couple of people, yeah,
Yeah.
we do. We have a few employees that have come to us from the culinary school and from SWAC, and we even our dishwasher started with us. He was the second person that we hired, and because we just got to the point where we were working 16, 18 hours a day, and by the time you get done working 16 hours and you have to come back to the kitchen after a catering and a long day, and then you have to sweep and mop and do the dishes, is like, it's the last thing that you want to do. So we got to the point where I said, we can't afford not to hire somebody to help us because we're going to burn ourselves out and then we're not going to have a business. So we hired a dishwasher, and he was with us for a year and a half, and he was going to school here at SWAC. He was with us for a year and a half. He moved up from dishwasher to prep cook, and then he was even doing some line work and everything too. So, I mean, he started with us from the bottom and worked his way up. Then he got out of school, finished that, and then he went and worked somewhere else for a little bit. Well, now he's coming back because he went out and got another job doing something totally different from food. But he said, we have treated him the best of any job that he's ever had. And he really felt like he was wanted and appreciated working for us. And so for us, it was like it was great because, you know, when he left, we were totally bummed. We're like, man, he's a good worker. He's a young kid. He's 20. I think he's 20. And, you know, so we were sad to see him go, but we were like, oh, we know you got to move on and do this and that. But, you know, we even start people from the bottom and train them and move up. And when he left, we had somebody else who did the same thing, started dishwashing and then moved up and is now our pantry cook. And so, you know, we're all about, you know, training and moving people up and trying to do what we can to help them and better them and everything. But it's just about, I guess, finding more good employees. We have a really good crew right now, so we're lucky, but we could still, especially with summertime coming, use a few more.
Is there any way that with your relationship with OCCI that you could create some sort of a on-the-job?
Yeah, they have, each student is,
They can get credit rather than.
Yeah.
Each student is required after they finish culinary
Externship,
school to
yeah.
do an externship.
Okay.
So we could definitely have some externs. Now, the only problem with that is they're not done with school until August,
Okay.
until the middle of August. And for us, that's when our season is starting to slow down.
Sure.
So by that time, we already have hired our summer people, and they're going to be trickling off or staying. It just depends. So it hasn't really worked out to where we can do that because of how our seasons go.
We have to wrap this up.
So,
Yep, that's
yeah,
he's well past his bedtime.
yeah, he usually gets a bath at 6:30 and in bed by 7. So
If you'd like to stop here, I think it's a good place to stop.
sounds good. Yeah.
So,
Thanks for having us, you guys.
We appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. It's a labor of love. But you know, at least I